Hey there, it's Brittany Chavers and I'm back with the Jesse James Beads Magical Mystery Bead Box from June 2023. So today we're going to make a bracelet and a couple earrings. In that box we had this beautiful embossed leather and a really cool clasp. So I'm going to show you how to use this clasp with this leather. It's pretty easy, but just in case you haven't done that before. And we're also going to embellish the leather a little bit further today using this large bead on the strand, the Live Cowboy strand. I'm going to cut that open. We're going to do all our gluing first and then move on to an earring and then come back once the glue is dry. So before I glue the leather, I am going to grab one of these charms out of the mix, and I've started to put a gentle curve into the piece using my fingers. As you can see, it's got a little bit of a curve versus this flat one. You don't need a lot, and you can do it with your fingers. However, if you have dexterity issues or anything like that, just try using a bracelet bender if you have one. You can glue it on flat, but I'm just going to use my fingers today. Now we have a choice. You can leave this little connector piece on as part of the design, but I'm going to cut it off. Just using my nippers, one side at a time, because if we want to just cut off a little bit so that the design of the piece is still intact. And you're going to have some nibs. You can I have like a little bead reamer here. You can just file that down if you'd like. Just keep going with some sandpaper, bead reamer, a file, whatever. I'm just going to keep using my nippers, just cutting off little pieces at a time until it gets the shape that I'd like. Making sure not to cut too much off of that piece. Okay, I like that, and I'm going to do the other side. Be careful that you don't cut off the wrong part. All right, so then I have some E6000, and you only need a teeny tiny bit. I just take reuse my packaging here and put a little dot of the glue on there. Don't need a lot with E6000. And I have an eye pin, and that's what I'm going to use, or a piece of wire, whatever you have available. And that's what I'm going to use to spread the glue on the back of my curved piece. And I want to just put a little bit on because this is a filigree piece and you're going to see the glue through it. Now, that doesn't bother me because it dries clear, but it does bother some people. So just put as much or as little on there as you'd like. Like I said, a little goes a long way. You do want to make sure you're doing this while it's still wet. Mine might have been a little dried out. There we go. There we go. I got some of the wet stuff there. Just kind of smearing it across the back in a thin coat. I don't want too many big globs or anything. There we go. And then I'm going to plop that right on the center of my bead and center it. There we go. And the bending helped to get the domed fit to fit the domed bead a little bit more than just being flat. I'm going to hold that in place for just a moment, and then I'm going to set that aside for at least 20 minutes while it dries to the touch. And then if you want, you can even, there was like a little flower in one of these mixes. You can glue a flower on top. That might hold it a little bit better, just like that, whatever floats your boat. So I'm going to set that aside for a moment. Then I'm going to take my clasp, and I've already cut my leather, so I have some left over. I have enough for 2 bracelets. You can do a wrap bracelet if you'd like, that's twice as long. And then what I'm going to do is angle just the real end, just right at the end of my leather. And that's going to help me slide it into my magnetic clasp a little bit more easily. Okay. You really don't need much at all. And I'm going to use some Loctite super glue for this point, or for this part. And I'm just going to squeeze some into my inset portion of my clasp. I'm going to put in one end of my leather and squish that real tightly in there. Okay. We have a little piece coming out there. That's okay. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. There we go. Make sure to close up your glue and squish your end in there. And you can see a little bit of the end part came off, and that's okay. I'm just going to push, 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 push. And there we go. And then I'm going to let that dry for a little while on its own, and you can pull that apart if you'd like. I'm just going to keep it together. And while that dries, I'm going to set it aside. So while our piece is dry, we're going to make some earrings. I got this little cow skull out of the metal mix, the jade colored glass diamond, and a couple of the little turquoise chips. I have some 22 gauge German style wire, and I'm just going to do a loop. I'm going to bend that around like that, and I'm going to slide on our cow skull. I'll take my pliers and hold that while I bend my tail around the longer wire. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and bend that towards the back. You just decide where the back is because this is double-sided, so it doesn't really matter. And then we'll snip that off. I am going to slide on my diamond. And then my two chips. I know a lot of people have trouble using chips or just don't really know how to use them. I just use them like any other bead, and they're great spacers if you want to bring some color into your project. So that one shows a little bit of a gap of wire there, so I'm just going to turn it around and see if we have that same issue, and if not, we'll be good. And we don't have that same issue. So now I am going to wire wrap a loop on the top. Like that. And we'll bring that loop around. And then I am going to turn that loop sideways. So this one's going to stay facing forward, the one down here, and then the one on top is going to be sideways. So we're going to turn it like that. And then I am just going to wrap as many times as I'd like, making a little bit of a messy wrap. And then we're going to turn that a little bit. There we go. And we're going to cut in the back again. I'm going to take in this little end down here, bend that in just a little bit. There we go. And then I have an ear wire. Close that up. And we have ourselves a pair of cute little Southwestern earrings. I love these, so adorable. I love the pop of turquoise at the top. Okay, and now that our little pieces are dry, I'm going to show you how to attach your bead to your bracelet. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to find the middle of my bracelet. I also have some 22 gauge wire. You can use smaller gauge if you'd like. 24, 26. I think 24 might be better than 26. I am going to slide my little bead onto my wire. Okay, about in the middle. And then I'm going to find as close to the middle of my bracelet as possible. So it's about right there. I'm going to take my bead, hold it with my left hand, and I'm going to take my wire and start wrapping around my leather. And I'm just going to do a couple wraps. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And you want it to be tight because you don't want your bead to wiggle loose. Now, if you just want your turquoise piece to be the only piece on your bracelet, and I know it looks a little wonky right now, but it's just because I haven't worn it yet. It is in the middle here. Let's see. If we go like that, it's centered. And if not, you can slide it over just a little bit. But like I said, you want it to be centered so it's not, and centered and tight so it's not going anywhere once it's on your bracelet. Now, you can put multiple beads along your piece, but I think this is going to be really pretty with just that huge focal. So I'm going to come around one more time, bringing my leather to the back. And I'm going to come around one more time on this side. There we go. And then we come to the back. I'm going to snip my wire, and I know you're thinking like, that's gonna hurt your wrist. Yeah, it would if we leave it like that, but I'm not going to leave it like that. And I'm going to take some pliers and clamp a little bit on these wires. There you go. Now you have the choice. You can slip this wire underneath one of these, but I've clamped it to where it's more flush to the leather. There we go. I'm just going to do the exact same thing on this side. You can put glue in there, whatever you think would help you make it more secure. But as you can see, it's hard for me to even move these wires very much. So I'm just going to leave them like that. And we have a focal on our beautiful leather. I think that looks so nice. And all you have to do, and then you have a huge focal on your bracelet, and a beautiful clasp, by the way, too. So if you decided you wanted to, you could wear that side up as well. There's no rubbing or anything underneath. And if you'd like, you could also maybe even glue felt to the back to hold it in place, but I don't think that's necessary. So today we learned how to make a focal for a leather bracelet and attach it, which I just love this bracelet. I know it looks a little lopsided, but it's not. It's just the way the leather's gonna learn how to lay on your wrist over time. And we made a super cute pair of Southwestern earrings to make an adorable set to wear together. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Jesse James Beads for having me back. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. Hi, cutie. Hi. Oh, you're a good jumper, huh? Yeah, you're such a good girl. Yeah, you're such a good girl. Hi, honey.